Greetings, gamers, and welcome to episode 9 of the LogCast. After another 2-month break, as per tradition, we have a new episode with some more gamers. So before we get started, I want to introduce the gamers as we have some new faces here. So I don't know if any of you would like to kick off with your introduction of yourself.
I guess I can start. I'm Mikael. I'm the developer, founder, and just the person who runs TempleOSRS. And I guess I play the game a little as well. Ranked 24 Hunter. Used to play a lot more. Not as much these days, but still fair amount. Just do a little clogging here and there, and some bossing.
You know, I just realized why Jaya was laughing at me for not pronouncing your name properly. Because you didn't pronounce it the same way that I did.
I
Okay.
pronounced how it's pronounced in Finnish.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, tangent. Wiki?
And I'm Wiki, and most of you probably know me. I used to be on LogChaser for a long time. Now I'm just free agent, I guess. And I like clues. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Damn, that's a
I like
surprise.
discussing and thinking about like optimizing clue scroll solving, and yeah, I'm trying to green log clues, but it's not really like a main goal anymore since I green delete. So now I'm just kind of vibing, I guess.
Define greening clues, like just the last master.
Getting the last master item, but it's not. I'm not as driven as I was when I tried to green elites. Just take it day by day, I guess.
Okay, cool. Greg?
Oh, yeah, my RSN is Greg, by the way. I just do general collection log progress. Some of my achievements that I got recently are like finishing boss green log and all pets, and I'm just working towards, like, I guess a good goal is to try to become clue locked. So I'm trying to work towards that.
That is a
But
very
yeah,
good
that's
goal.
really all for me.
Cool. Well, welcome to the cast, guys. I'm excited for this yap, as per usual. So I guess we just dive straight into it because we have limited time here. And the first main topic is about TempleOSRS, and it's actually kind of nice that we have Mikael here to talk about Temple. I talked about you a lot in my rambles and so on, so it's nice to finally be able to yap with you in person, or I guess virtually. So I don't know if you want to start off, Michael, by explaining what is TempleOSRS. I'm sure most of the listeners know, but in the off chance that some don't, you can go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I can kind of explain it a little bit. So it's a stat tracking site originally. The idea was to replace Crystal Math Labs when it started to, get a little unmaintained, if that's even a word. But it started going to shit, and we needed a replacement. So this is basically the original idea why it's even why it exists. And then they added boss high scores right after, or I guess just around the launch. So it became like a boss tracking and skill tracking website, mostly for HLC, for records. And just last year, the kind of the same thing happened with the collectionlog.net website. It started to be a little unmaintained as well. So JT messaged me about just clan stuff in general at first, and then we kind of discussed a little bit about perhaps making a replacement, and here we are today. I kind of just made a replacement for collectionlog.net, a better one, basically with the EHC and everything. But yeah, that's about it for what the site is.
Yeah, I was very happy to learn when you started the collection log section of it, because that was a very sad day when we learned that collectionlog.net was not being maintained by the owner. I think he had other priorities and just burnt or moved on. I don't remember the exact details, but really loving
Yeah,
it. Loving it.
Yeah, it was actually kind of funny because I started making it like 2 to 3 months before that even happened.
Damn.
So it was kind of lucky incident maybe, but it was already in the works before the site even went down.
I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Good timing then.
Well, it could have been a little bit more better timing if it happened like 1 to 2 months after that, because now I couldn't actually scrape all the item data of people from the old site. We only had the top 2.5k people's item dates, thanks to the real one who handled or got them for his sheet about the EHC. So thanks to him, there was some old data about people who probably never have synced on Temple.
Cool. So I guess before we go into more like nerdy discussions, I kind of wanted to have someone explain EHP, EHB, and EHC. I don't know if we have any volunteers. I'm just gonna close my door because the dog is barking like crazy.
I mean, I guess I can take this one as well. But ESB and EHC are somewhat similar, that they are just trying to estimate how much you have done progress. EHB is just raw numbers, taking how many boss kills you have and doing the math, estimating roughly how many hours you have done at max efficiency at any boss. And EHC is just essentially the same, but just looking at your drops and also, expanding it to other categories outside of bossing as well. And EHB is as most of you probably know, is the skilling equivalent. Just estimates how much hours you have put into skilling. Originally, the idea was for 200 mil race that instead of the main metric that people tracked, which was XP, just looking at high scores, who has more XP, which doesn't tell the full picture always. EHB is more suitable for that, and you have a better idea who is actually leading. These days, it's not as relevant as it was back in the day, just due to the high scores being filled, but it's still really relevant for like more niche game modes, where the high scores are still very much competitive.
Well, there's still some like sections that it's competitive, like UIM, I guess, and hardcore. But I know for mains, it's kind of lost. Sorry, Wiki.
To add to that, like I would say EHB and EHP are very similar, like the same concept, but EHC is very different because it can be misleading to people who don't really understand it, because it doesn't really like track your hours played, which is why it can be like very, if you look at a lot of cloggers, it is like 10,000 hours or whatever, but it's more counting down, and then with clue items it can get very, very confusing. And I mean, we're gonna get into like the clue stuff later, but that's why EHC, like, it's very different from EHP and EHB, because it doesn't track your actual like hours put into the game, and more about the drops and then estimating like the progress towards green logs. So
yeah,
as long as you have.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go. Okay, I can go, but I was just gonna mention that as long as you have finished the category, then it's pretty good, estimation of the how many hours it took on average.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just the clues messing everything up more, like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for pretty much every green log, it's very like clean, especially like the minigame ones and whatever, because then like, yeah, this person spent X hours on Castle Wars. But when it comes to clues, just because there's so many hours and most people won't like finish the green logs and clues, it can get kind of silly with the numbers, I guess.
Yeah, and when somebody just gets a sneaky little third age pickaxe.
Yeah, and I mean also like the Dragonstone kit is so insane. If you look at the like the yearly EHC things, it's pretty much only Iron Man, and like most of those Iron Mans, like a lot of them have put in a lot of like hours on top of that, of course. But you can kind of see like who got the Dragon Kite Shield kit when, like which year, and it's kind of funny.
Well, that's the issue with EHC is for clues. It's more like a lottery system. Obviously, you can open 1,000 elites and get nothing, but then a random person can get like a double tuxedo in one casket, and right away that's way more hours. But that's just part of the game mode.
And that extends to like bossing too, like not just clues, like different from skilling or bossing. If you put in like 1,000 hours, doing collection log content, like you might just get overall kind of unlucky or very spooned, and so you might be up or down on your hours. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I remember using the pet sheet like a few months ago, and I was at negative 1,200 hours, and never looked back because that was depressing to count. But I'm sure I caught up actually because I've been spooning recently.
Yeah, I really wanted to make something similar that kind of estimates your hours, but not all bosses are on high scores, and even if they are on high scores, it might not reflect accurately what people actually did for their kills, like necks.
Well, the issue is that if you do post green log bossing, it'll skew the data as well, unless you know the exact kill count they greened. Because I remember.
Yeah,
I remember like a few years ago when Domas finished boss log, I tried to calculate if he was lucky or not, and I ended up calculating that he was like slightly unlucky, but nothing crazy. But I assumed that he never did post green log bosses, which I'm sure is probably correct. But I'm sure in other cases, like I've done some post green log raids or post green log bosses during bingos, for example. So that would skew me upwards.
Yeah, I think bingos will totally skew a lot of, and like some people more than others, of course.
Yeah, I actually was thinking if I were to ever implement that, it would actually save your KC from the second you gain the item. So it wouldn't like increment it further if you gain any KC after getting the drop. So it's definitely doable, but it's quite a bit of work.
Could you like use the time, because you know your tempo tracks what date you got your Kalog? Could you look at like back in the high scores, like on April 15, 2024, how much like Bandos kill count did I have or something? Is that possible?
As long as you tracked on the website, then yeah, you can do that.
Damn, that would be kind of tough though, but that would be pretty cool. I would love to be able to complain and have an actual reason to, with math.
I feel like that wouldn't work for everyone though, because like if you started syncing, like say on like collection log release, when it was added to the high scores and added to Temple, and if you already had a bunch of bosses green logged, then like that information is kind of lost for those players if they had already done more at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's big reason why I never actually pursued this thing. But it's doable if you use the collectionlog.net actively, or just in general, wherever you started clogging. As long as you have synced actively and updated on the site actively, which is maybe a tough ask for a lot of people. But if you have, then it's doable.
Cool, that's interesting. That'd be cool to see one day. So the next topic, I'm going to start with Greg, because you've been very, very helpful in terms of finding EHP rates for certain bosses. And one main discussion point that we have in the Temple Discord, which, by the way, I'll make sure to put a link in the description if you want to join, because you can actually support these discussions and provide feedback. But the EHP rate, so the efficient hours boss rate, is determined currently based on the simple math where you take the like max efficiency kills per hour, imagine it's 30, and then you assume 90% as EHP. So I wanted to discuss with you guys, do you think EHP rate should be the absolute max efficiency, or is 90% of it a reasonable metric? So I want to start with you, Greg, because I'm interested to see your point of view.
Yeah, with 90%, I think that's generally how it's done. I think there are some cases where it's not quite that. I think the idea is that for some bosses where it's way easier to actually hit that max efficiency, they like to balance it closer to 100%, so maybe like 95%, something like that. And then for other things like the Inferno, where the skill ceiling is like way higher, it's more controversial, and that's probably lower than 90%. I think this mirrors some of EHP for skilling. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think some of the skilling EHP is not is also below 100%. I might be wrong about that because I'm not much of a skiller, but I think the two are kind of similar in that regard. And now for my opinion on that, I'm totally fine to keep going with the 90% thing. In Temple, I like to try to help get rates updated, or for a new boss, like get some examples recorded to get the ball rolling on some of those discussions. Yeah, but in my opinion, I would say like I would like everything to just be max F. So you don't have to like apply this rule, or you look at the website and be like, okay, but now what's actually max F? right? I would prefer it to just all be like the sweatiest possible rates. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I see how doing this other way makes sense as well.
Yeah. Okay, I can go a little into detail about how it is right now and what's the plan for it, because I actually made a spreadsheet. I'm sure I have seen maybe little pictures of it, but the idea is to change the way it currently works, because the 90% it's not super helpful that it's flat 90% for everything. So the idea is to have a rating for each boss depending on how much effort you have to put in. Let's say there's like something like Colosseum Inferno where you have to click a lot. There is no AFK much. For those bosses, you get like a lot more leeway on the rates. If you go a little slower, it's you still get same amount of hours as if you were doing something like Scurriers or Warcat, something like that. Lot more AFK. And each boss would have their separate rating, and it would be listed on the site as well. And there would be 2 rates: the optimal rate and then the actual rate that will be applied to each player. So you could always see that if you are more interested in the actual max rate that you can achieve, then you can look at that number and then see what's the actual rate given. So yeah, it's supposed to change later this year, hopefully.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Also, so we're gonna be getting that feature. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
yeah,
to
yeah. And everything will be listed, so it's like clear if I have made a mistake with the boss on like the estimation on how AFK it is, how chill it is, then people can point it out, because I haven't done every boss, so I can't really tell. There have been a lot of volunteers helping with it, so it's definitely not all me. The rates are mostly made by other people.
Yeah, I would kind
I
of like
think
to
that
see like.
sounds very cool.
Oh, sorry. I kind of like to see
No,
like
no, you
VODs of like all the efficient metas for irons and mains, but that's maybe more of like a copium dream for me.
Like a description or video?
Well, we already have like basic descriptions, but it would be cool
Yeah.
if we had like a VOD that you could, like, I know Greg, you record VODs sometimes for your like kills per hour. I would kind of like to see it, because there's some things that you don't actually. There's no like guides, like efficient guides for much bossing, and even to me, I tried making some, and it's not really popular because it's too sweaty for most people. But having like a 1 or 2 hour VOD of someone doing Max F Coliseum or something, I think would be kind of cool. That's just personal preference, maybe.
Well, that actually kind of happened with skilling, because before there were no like video requirements for the 6 hours, but then the high scores kind of went to shit in 2020 and 2021. They didn't work properly, and they didn't update when you logged out, so we had to implement a mandatory video for each 6 hour, which accidentally gave a lot of. It wasn't intentional, but due to that, there is a lot of footage now about the most efficient methods, and it exists, and you can go view it. Same for bosses. Some people submit their votes, some people don't, but it's inevitable that the bosses will get the same thing eventually. That there is a video requirement for the 6 hours, so that should help a lot with the.
Yeah, I think.
Go for it, Wiki.
Well, I was gonna say that I think we have to look at EHB in 2 different ways, which is why what you mentioned is great, because like in one way, EHB can be used for people who want to optimize their game, and then they can look at like the rates and be like, oh, okay, so I'm really shit at this boss. I really need to look into like how to get better rates. And that's where like video footage obviously helps a lot. And the other way we can see at EHB is people, like especially for bingos, I've noticed a lot, like everyone has like the temple tracking in the bingos, and some people like log chasers who used hours for the bosses and like try to balance it, but not every clan is gonna do that. So it's a great metric just to make it fair in a way, but the way we do EHB right now is not really fair, because like if a boss is very hard to reach the EHB rate on, it's gonna be like a bad bingo boss compared to bosses who you can like AFK and get like 1-1 or like even above rate. So I think the bosses should be balanced around how hard it is to maintain the rates. But I also think the info about like the max rate should exist. So good to hear that you're labbing on that right now.
Yeah, maybe one big reason for that is because like the skilling scene has had this conversation a couple of years ago, a little bit ahead of time, because these problems arise there as well when people were just AFKing things in comps, because it was the most efficient thing to do. So the rates had to be balanced. So there's like the most competitive skilling comps these days, they have all custom rates for the comps for each player on if they're doing anything weird that is out of the ordinary, because it's impossible to have like one general list of rates that will cover everybody. So yeah, EHB is coming a little bit behind, but it will catch up.
Cool.
And also actually about the 6 hour vids, I wanted to mention, because I've been doing some PBM for CAs in the past couple months, and on YouTube, all the guides. I'm gonna do a little call out here, but they seem to be only aimed at like early game Ironman. So if I wanna search a guide to get like a speed time on any boss, it's really hard. So we need if I wanted to check the 6-hour pages and if they actually had videos about the records, then that would be really helpful to actually learn how to do the boss properly.
Yeah, I think it would be very good to have like more recordings because I actually like I was bad at that myself because every time I try to like speedrun clues, I record my footage and then I just delete it because I watched the like video and it's like, oh no, I lost takes, this is awful, and then I just delete it. And someone asked me like, how do you maintain 10 like EHC on master clues? And I just happened to have a video where I got like 12 per hour that I uploaded, and then I wanted to delete it because I messed up at the start. But that's kind of the thing where like it's good to have a lot of content for people who want to learn, because the best way to learn is to watch and like try it yourself and improve.
Well, not
we need
losing
people who
ticks.
actually.
Sorry, not losing ticks doing clues is like extremely hard. Like, I don't think you should not upload
Yeah.
for that reason.
Yeah, I know, but it's more like, for example, in that video I watched and I was like, oh fuck, I teleported too early, I lost like 8 ticks, it's over. But yeah, clues are very hard to like do max F.
It isn't like some of the 6-hour like stealing records, even then like they still lose ticks here and there, like it's
Yeah, I
it's
guess it
normal.
depends on the method, but hardly any are completely like tick perfect. Surely you always miss some ticks, Even if the server is running a bit slower, maybe you lose a couple ticks due to that. You don't get the full 6,000 ticks or however much it is. They are not completely perfect, but getting close.
But yeah, I think it would be very good to like establish a baseline where if someone can sustain any rate on a boss, they can like upload the footage, and that's the max rate, I guess. Because there was a lot of discussions when it came to clues, and I kind of settled on the lower end of the rates because I know a lot of people, like especially when it comes to clues, if you don't do thousands of clues, you're not going to be that good at it. And it takes a lot of practice, and then like telling them, oh yeah, just solve masters is like 11 per hour, like that's kind of unreasonable, I guess. But I think it would be good to have that like footage and for people to know that you can actually do it faster if you improve.
Wiki, do you still pre-type the emote in chat with the command while you run up to the stash?
Of course.
Holy.
No way you say of course to that, bro. What the
Always.
hell?
I mean, I've got to admit something. I've stopped ghost booking when I do hards, but that mostly because I only do like casual hards nowadays. Since like when I do hellhounds for masters, I get a couple extra, and then I do all the fast steps. So it's not really like. But if I would do max F hards, I would use the ghost book again. But that's the only take that's a bit too.
Yeah,
No,
not ghost booking is pretty casual. That's pretty casual.
Yeah. Like if you fill your inventory fully, and then if you get a puzzle or a question, you equip the Book of the Dead and the banner, and then you like gain a free slot, and then you equip the class again. So like the Book of the Dead is a free item for hard clues, basically.
They gain one extra
But yeah,
slot.
that's a bit too much, honestly. It's so annoying.
See, I didn't even know. Never mind. I don't do that. So.
Leave it to Wiki.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I thought you meant like you spawned a mage thrall or something. But...
Well, basically that's why like you thrall, and then you also have like an extra teleport for free. So that's why I call it the ghost book, because it's just the ghost of a book, I guess.
Oh yeah, because right
like,
now
you
I
don't
bank
really...
for my the banner, so you're right. I could technically bring it.
Yeah, like it's zero space basically, but it's yeah. I don't do that when I do my like candy hearts, I guess.
Wiki, have you done any calcs on the breaker? If that's going to be good for clues?
No, I actually haven't, but I'm gonna look into it like as soon as we have more conclusive stuff on how it's gonna be. But I think it should be good, right? Since you can like you don't have to use it on a big target. So
yeah, that might be worth looking into.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, good yap. So the next one I want to talk about, and we have 3 irons here, so it should be pretty interesting. It's about the Iron Man Dragonstone Armor EHC discussion. So currently, I believe the math is still old, as in it still assumes you don't get that much zero-time crystal keys to help you finish the full Dragonstone armor set. But I did some calcs like a few months ago, and you actually get a lot more than we expected from zero-time sources. So I think I want to split this question in two. First of all, I want to know what you guys think about Elites and Master Clue regular section green log. Should we factor that in as zero time when completing Dragonstone armor set, or should we ignore?
I mean, I was arguing in favor to like do it, because if you look at it as an Iron Man, like obviously a lot of people are not gonna go for the, like a lot of people are not gonna go for either of those, but a lot of people are not gonna go for Clue locked or like Furdish locked, I guess. But at the same time, like if you do Gorax, obviously some people are doing that, but it's very inefficient, not gonna lie. And I think doing Seracnus instead, progressing both the crystal keys and the elite clues, just makes a lot more sense if we're gonna talk like macro efficiency for Iron Man. Like it doesn't really make sense to go for the Dragonstone armor first, unless you really want to like AFK harder than Seracnus. But we shouldn't take that into account, in my opinion.
And I'm pretty sure like the Elite and Master caskets themselves are going to be giving you crystal key halves. So
Yeah, they do.
yeah, over time we're going to be getting more and more. I know in Log Chasers recently, Master Barter and Tyler, both of them, I think they each finished Dragonstone recently at like pretty high key counts. I think they were around like 10,000, and they were like grinding them specifically from Gorax.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit different for them because they do it as like a AFK working side thing. So while they work, they're like, I know for Barter, for example, while he was working, he was on his phone doing Gorax. But like, it's not like you can really do Seracnus at work. It might be too harsh of a grind while actually working. So I think for them, it might have made sense in those cases. But I do tend to agree with Wiki. It would have been better if they were able to do Seracnus, as they would get the clues and the passive keys at the same time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we should take it back to the original question here, though, on like how that EHC is actually set with like these zero time sources, because I think maybe not a lot of people know like what is going on in Temple right now, and you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but my current understanding is that for the first like 3 pieces of Dragonstone armor, they're assigned like very low EHC, and that's to like kind of account for passive crystal keys, and then for the final 2, they give quite high hours. Is that right?
Yeah, that's how we do it, right?
Yeah, I just checked. I think it's first 3 are completely zeroed out, and the last 2 give hours.
Yeah,
and the ramp up was like really high.
Yeah, it would have. It was, but from my calcs, I was proposing to nerf it to make it so it's like the first 4 are free, and then the last one is like 400 something hours. But like even right now, as is, I get DMs from friends where they're like, "What the hell? I got a Dragonstone armor piece and got 1 EHC," and it's kind of hard to explain to them why they got only 1 EHC, even though it was essentially considered zero time.
Yeah, the way it exactly works, I just checked this. The first 3 items are just the opening rate, and the last 2 are just the gathering rate plus the opening rate.
Yeah, I think especially like if we implement passive elites, people are gonna be even more confused, because like obviously a lot of people, they see a rare item and they're like, why am I not getting hours for this? But if we talk like a broader sense, for example, as me as a player, so I've not grinded any active crystal keys. Like I've not done Gorax, I've not done like the deranged arc. And I got my Dragonstone armor like full at 3,300 keys, and it was all just passive keys doing content. Like you could argue Seracnus, I did like 55k Seracnus or something, and that's obviously like partly because of the crystal keys, partly because of the elites, but mainly because I wanted to AFK something while doing our other stuff. So yeah, I don't really know if there's a good solution, because people will be confused no matter what. But I think going for like the thing that makes sense should be the focus, because we shouldn't take into account that people have to AFK something, because that's not what EHB or like EHP does. They just go for the efficient rates. Then if people play outside of that, that's up to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some bonus XP solutions in the EHP that are kind of similar to this, but implementing this into the EHC it'll just make everything that much more complicated and complex and confusing for the average people. It's doable, but it might be a little bit too complicated.
Yeah, well, when I did my calcs, I provided like the actual numbers it should be, and then I also wrote in the Temple Discord like, I think we should just leave it as is. There's no point start complicating this portion. The only thing that sucks is for someone like Barter who spent 2 years AFK in Gorax, he lost a lot of time, as opposed to someone like Wiki or Jahai that were able to zero time the green log under rate. If someone goes dry and tries to zero time it, then they're kind of screwed, but if we consider third age EHC, that's irrelevant, so which is kind of funny.
He did that for 2 years.
I think it was a year and a half or something, close to 2 years.
I bet he still like accidentally teleports there sometimes.
I should ask him that. But yeah, that's rough for Barter.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, we kind of have to pick a lane between trying to make people feel good about the hours and trying to make the hours make as much efficient sense as possible. Because right now there's like a weird compromise, and it makes it so like when people look at the numbers, they look at it as hours, but it's not really hours. Like for example, okay, so I got 400 EHC from my Dragonstone armor, but I didn't spend 400 hours on it, obviously. And like you could argue I saved that from the future, but I would never do that grind actively. I would just go for it passively. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
Well, you can argue the same on if you spoon like your Moonhelm. You save up hours,
for sure.
It's a good problem to have.
I think it's just the nature of the collection log. If you get the drop, you get the hours. If you don't, you just play a little bit more.
But I mean more in the sense of like attaching a lot of hours to it when actually it wouldn't take that many hours on average. Since like for example, I got 3,300 keys, and if I would just keep playing for a couple of years, I would easily reach like 5k keys passively. But yeah, obviously for other cases, if you go dry, then yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, but if people zero time them regardless, then it's not the biggest of issues. Zero time is zero time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's worth our energy. There's bigger fish to fry, like we would say. And I'm okay with as it is now, even though I'm only 1 out of 5 in 1900 keys, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, like the passive elites, maybe perhaps.
Yeah, that's probably more.
Yeah, I agree. Passive elites should also be included, but I'm just like talking, like if I could just solve every problem and nobody would get upset, then I would love to have like all passive included. But I know it's complicated, and also since people look at it as hours and look at it as a progress, when you change the numbers, it takes away people's progress, and it kind of feels bad, if that makes sense. So yeah,
people in LogChasers were messaging me because I was doing when I was going for 5 out of 5 at Konar Slayer for the Dusk Mystic. The rates hadn't been updated since Turiel. We got those Turiel Slayer blacklists, and I collected my data and I got the rates updated. And then people in LogChasers, this is around the time that they were imposing the 2,500 EHC requirement for the clan, and I got some messages from people talking about how upset they were because I had like done this and that had like negatively impacted them for this requirement. And I'm like, oh, geez, I'm sorry. Like,
it feels bad. Like it's the same thing where when we were discussing clue rates, at first I was like very adamant on having like max F clue rates, and then I kind of started backing off because I realized like I don't really care like about the hours, about whatever. Like for me, it's just cool to have some kind of like being able to shake an account and have an estimate of how progressed they are. But when it comes to the exact things, like I don't really care if the clue hours are max F, so I just back down and like, okay, sure, let's go with the lower rates, because I know some people care about like having, especially with the requirements for log chasing and such. So yeah, I guess I wasn't as.
Well, I think you just segued perfectly into the next topic about Elite and Master Clue EHC. I don't know if Mikael or Wiki, you want to explain what the current EHC rates are for Elites and Masters? Whichever.
You can go if you want, Mikael.
I mean, I can try, but this is not my.
I
expertise.
can explain it otherwise.
He's like,
if
hold
you're
my
not
beer, I
sure.
got you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so basically, for Ironman, we ended up like at first we were discussing compromise rate because the clue meta for Ironmans is very complicated since like if you go into the wild day you have 10 man, you can do Venenadis or Callisto and get a lot of clues. But if you don't do that, the next best thing is Arachnis, which is like a bit over 1 elite per hour. And after a lot of discussions, we just settled on doing Arachnis because if you're an Iron Man, you can't like consistently grind on your own clues 24 hours a day if you wanted to. And it kind of doesn't make sense if the efficient hours are dependent on so many factors you can't control. And then for hard clues, we do Hellhounds, but we kind of also settle on like just doing Venator Bow. And then there's Eclectic Implings for medium clues, and then easy clues you just do Ham members. So those are a lot less complicated, but also hard clues. There's like another thing there, but yeah. So those are the rates. Those are like the expected methods, and it causes some problems obviously because then if people do Callisto or Group Venenadis or whatever, they can get a lot more clues per hour, which means like impossible progress if that makes sense.
Yeah, the issue is that if you're doing like efficient mass Callisto Venenadis, you're getting 2-to-1 EHC right now, as opposed to if you're doing Syracuse where you get 1-to-1. But it's kind of tricky to rectify that, as you said, because so many factors. So I don't know. What do you think, Michael or Greg? Do we think the EHC for elites are in a good spot?
Maybe that's a little bit on Jagex as well. They could change it up a little bit.
Exactly.
That's we've been coping about that for 4 years now. So
don't hold your breath. But no, it's bad. It's really bad. Like the best outside of the wildy stuff, which I personally really don't like. Efficient metas being in the wildy, that's really annoying. But outside of the wildy stuff, like the best elite clue method being AFKing Syrachnus is just strange. Like we should have other viable options or other options that are maybe a little better for more effort. That would make sense, but I don't know.
Yeah, my biggest issue is just the wilderness thing and it not being available 24/7, even if people wanted to do it. So it brings these endless discussions about whether it should be Callisto, what the Callisto rate should be expected to be doing it 24/7. That's my selfish view of the issue. But personally, I'm fine with the rate being. I don't know if people even consider it as low, but I'm fine with the rate being whatever it is outside of Callisto. But it definitely shouldn't be AFK, the most efficient method. That's for sure.
Yeah, Jagex really needs to change things up. But I also think like one problem we have discussed different ways to like solve the elephant in the room. But for example, one solution that was proposed was just making it so we take the kill count from, for example, Callisto, and then we subtract that because that's like the efficient progress and such. But the problem there is for like there's one example, but there could be a lot more potentially. But Donald, who like used to do Callisto, he didn't do any elite clues, and he got like 50k KC. And say he wants to start clogging and join log chasers or like get his number correctly. Then the game or like the calcs would assume he has 1k elite clues that he didn't have, and then hours would be subtracted. And it's kind of like messy in that way, but also I'm not really a fan of like trying to change the rates because that means you can't look at the person and see how progressed their account is, and instead it becomes how progressed they are personally based on what they did as a method. Like it's kind of weird in my opinion.
I don't like the fact that there would be a changing rates based on which bosses you have done. It brings so many issues on the implementing side of things. So let's say somebody does 100k Callisto, then suddenly their total amount of hours is lower than somebody else's who never does any bear. So that will bring a lot of issues.
And also, since elite clues and master clues are so RNG dependent, it gets even weirder because it could mean someone does like 100k Callisto, they get fucked on the RNG, and then their hours are going to be lower than someone who just spooned the same amount of elite items just passively. And that's like, I don't know, it's just so messy. Like, I don't think it's possible to have a good solution, sadly. We just have to pick a method and then defend it as good as we can.
Yeah, I really like the idea of calculating like how many elites you got from the other bosses and all that, but you guys made good points. It still gets messy. But is it a better solution than having like very inflated EHC numbers? Because right now, if you look at the highest EHC players, it's practically all Iron Man, just because of how crazy the items scale in terms of EHC.
I think the solution, like what I try to argue for, like a compromise rate and defending it, would just be having the same rate as mains. And that means obviously if an Iron Man is gonna AFK Arachnis for thousands of hours, you're not gonna get a lot of progress. But if we look at the high scores, there's pretty much no Iron Man who has actually grinded clues outside of Callisto for a significant amount of time. It's like a handful of people who have done like 1k hours Arachnis at most. And obviously that is a lot of hours. But if we look at the Iron EHC, like if you get the Dragonstone, like Dragon Kite Kit and whatever, that's so many hours compared to the amount of like hours people have actually spent on this boss. So if you look at it that way, Irons shouldn't have that much EHC, and it's because nobody has grinded it the way we set the rate to. Like either they get passive clues and spoon, or they do Callisto. There's like not really that many people who have exclusively grinded Arachnis and done it for a significant amount of time. Like nobody has done 2k hours Arachnis.
What KC would 2K hours be?
That would be
So,
like
over 100K?
120k, yeah, 120k. And now I think SCs has like 60 and 70k, maybe. I'm not sure, but like
I thought
when it comes to
100K is this. I remember
oh,
seeing
maybe
that
it
on
did.
Twitter.
Okay, I may be wrong.
Oh yeah,
but
he's
like that's the
102,000. He's rank 1 Iron. That's
okay,
crazy.
okay, never mind. But yeah, like if you look at it, the amount of players impacted versus how much it messes things up, I personally think we should just use the main rate because the Iron rate is not really accurate in any regard.
What did we use before? Was it the main rate for Irons?
I think it was Callisto,
we just used shades, the same as mains, which means like as an Iron, either you get worse rates or you could get better rates, but it's like the same as mains. We didn't assume mains would do Callisto either, we just used shades.
Well, for mains it makes sense to use shades. I think that's a good idea though, to scale both game modes to main with shades. It sucks for Irons who want to grind elites without having access to Callisto, but at least it doesn't completely offset the entire EHC high scores.
Yeah, the way I see it, like as someone who has done 60k Arachnis, so like I'm not talking out of my ass here, but the way I see it, if you do Arachnis instead of trying to progress other clogs, you're intentionally being inefficient. It's like doing Gorax for Crystal Keys or whatever. Like you could do something else to progress your account, but you're doing something slow because either it's chill or it's nice progress for you or whatever. Like there's a lot of reasons to do Arachnis. I love Arachnis. But when it comes to the boss in itself, if you choose to do a lot of Arachnis, especially before you're clue locked, you're kind of picking a lane of not caring about like the hours versus progress, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm doing some right now. It's AFKing on the side.
Yeah,
I'm in a weird position with my
Arachnis is the
account
best.
where I'm like almost clue locked, like not quite. So I wait for my CM team to be online to do CMs. And then outside of that, I could do LMS, but apparently that's like really bad since the update. You have to like fight way more legitimate players.
Yeah, I heard
And
this.
so then there's that, and then like really not many other options for me. So I've just been kind of like when my CM team is not online, I just kind of AFK here at Arachnis.
But I don't think Arachnis is like that troll. It's like equivalent to a skiller doing redwoods instead of doing 1.5 tick peaks. They're still progressing their experience. It's just not as efficient.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me. Like, I'm not saying it's troll as much as if you're a skiller and you do redwoods because you want to AFK or you want to progress like that part of your skills, you're not like either you want to wait or you want to try to like. There's a lot of different ways to approach it. But the way I see it, only a couple of people are impacted if we like scale it to Seracnus actually for those accounts. But every other iron, including like random irons with 1100 clogs who like spoon the Dragon Kite kit, they get a lot of hours that they haven't really played, which makes the iron rate very different from the main rate. Like if you look at the yearly EHC games, like I'm rank 1 on every single year, and then like it's only irons basically, except for Bloom 1 year. And it's just because people like get spooned certain items. Like they didn't do Seracnus or Callisto even. They just like did their passive elites. They got a lot of items, and then because the Iron Man rates are so scaled for irons in like a Seracnus way, it just boosts the hours and makes it like kind of hard to tell how progressed an account is, if that makes sense.
I think the hours will always be a little funky compared to EHB and EHB, just due to the luck factor. There will always be people who
it's messy.
spoon things, and then there is the bear conversation. If it ever gets removed or nerfed, then there are people who have used it for a long time, and then we can't have the rate anymore. Set it to whatever, however high it was. Assuming the rates go down, but that hasn't historically happened too much, but could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I said like earlier when we had the discussion, I pushed towards just having the shades rate and then a compromise rate, and then I just like settled because I don't really care what number EHC it shows. Like, I'm fine with whatever, since I know a lot of other people care about not having like their hours devalued. And I know, like, for example, if we take SE as an example, okay, so he's doing a lot of Seracnus, and then we're like, oh, but you're inefficient, we're gonna remove like all your items, all those hours, whatever. Like, I understand it feels bad, and people wanna like see the number go up, not the number go down. So I'm kind of fine with it, but in a perfect world, we would just have like the efficient rates, and then if people can't achieve that, either they try to do other grinds or they accept that they're not gonna get like the efficient rates.
Yeah, I have seen along the years so many thousand hours removed from the 200 mil, so that this is like just the normal average day.
And that's
They
coming
go
for this
down,
one,
they go
too.
down.
For like
Yeah,
Seracnus, for example, with the breaker, the DPS for like the current proposal is about 20% better. So that'll be a pretty significant increase for just grinding Seracnus for blues. Yeah, 20% better than the site.
Oh shit, that's actually I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I think cloggers just have to start accepting that the hours are gonna go down like a lot probably. But for now, it's whatever. Like I'm not that invested in trying to have accurate clue rates, but people should be aware that they're very skewed from like a certain perspective, and that's why I have a hard like I was gonna say that like when it comes to Iron EHC, I would love to have a toggle so you could see your like main EHC on your temple page, because I have a hard time like looking at my EHC and seeing like how it's actually progressed. But I guess that's a me problem.
Yeah, because I saw
a lot
like,
of people
just to give an example, like I'm almost 11,500 EHC on my Iron, and OTB is 11,900 EHC on his main, and I think he's ranked like 7 or 8 for EHC for mains, and I'm ranked 22 for Irons. So right away, it's like there's a massive gap between the EHC for mains and Irons. But yeah, I'm just gonna double down on my point earlier. I'd like to see the elite rate change to be shades for Irons. Screw it, make it more balanced, make it look less.
Yeah, I support that. I think doing it for Seracnus was a mistake, because there's not that many people grinding Seracnus, and the people who are doing it are not doing it because they think it's efficient. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was a good attempt, but.
Well, yeah, of course. Like I'm not like I'm not to blame, but it's more like when you look back at it and like how it shifted hours. The problem is, it seems like a lot of people are comparing Iron rates with the main rates, and it gets kind of weird. And especially like the best example is the yearly EHC, because on its own it's a very cool leaderboard to like see how many hours some people gained in a year and whatever. But because of the iron rates being so skewed towards like Seracnus, it's just all irons who got the Dragon Kite kit, basically. It's kind of weird.
And with this whole like Seracnus versus Callisto conversation, I thought part of the problem with Callisto is that it wasn't practical during certain periods.
Yeah, I mean, that's like there's a lot of problems with it, and the first thing, which like I guess it's a kind of segue, but the main issue I have it with, like setting the rates towards it, is that you need 9 other people, and that's very like complicated, since then you can't just choose to grind it whenever. Like if you have a team and people are like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore, or like you can't get invited or whatever, like there's a lot of problems with it. And then off top, like the wildly obviously just makes it so much more complicated. But,
and you say need, but like let's say you only have 5 people, is it still better than Seracnus then, or like how?
I mean, yeah, that's also the thing. Like, it would be better than Seracnus. It's just that the team would probably not want to do that. So it's kind of messy, I guess. But also just who cares?
The less people you have, you have to actually like play properly. With 10 people, it's a meme. You just click boss and one person does everything.
Yeah, but I mean, mainly the problem is that like if people want to do that content and like go into the wild, they're not gonna wanna get like 80 kph and like, oh, this is slightly better than Seracnus. Like,
it's Seracnus at that point.
Yeah, but I think also the main issue is how, when it comes to like setting rates, if you can't like perm grind something, it feels kind of weird to have it as a rate. And it's like, oh yeah, if you can play during these hours with this team during this period, which doesn't exist anymore, then you could have gotten that rate. It's kind of like weird, I guess. But yeah, I think Seracnus is fine, but I would prefer having it just scale to shades instead, since that's what we had before, and I think it was good.
Yeah, because I remember I did that calc. I think I shared it with you, Wiki, where I looked at the clue luck for each player, and I kind of bunched up mains and irons together, and then I remember setting that to Jai High, and he was like, I don't care, iron rates are cringe. And
okay. The problem is you can't really compare iron rates with main rates right now, and that's just a problem if people want to compare them, since obviously everyone on that list is going to be an Iron Man, because Iron Mans either get a lot luckier or like unluckier, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, well, I mean, the next topic is kind of segued between previous one. It's hard clue Iron Man EHC rates. So I think in the past, it was assumed to be Cannon Hellhounds in the Wildy, but then obviously Cannon Balls are not infinite, so I believe now it's scaled down to just Venibo? Am I correct with that, or am I wrong?
I think there was like a slight compromise rate where I pushed for it to be like slightly higher, but it was kind of Venibo. I don't remember what the rate is now. I think it's 10 per hour, right? Then it's Venibo, but I think I pushed it to be 14, right?
Oh, I don't remember. Wait, I have
it. For cannonballs, is that only passive cannonballs, or like does that account for that new sailing furnace with the Noder NPC that they added there?
I think it was passive.
Ever worth making them?
Once you run out of cannonballs, you're kind of screwed. That's what was my understanding.
Yeah, but basically back when we discussed it, it was that if you only do like regular PVM content in an Iron Man, you won't have enough passive cannonballs to be able to greenlog the hard clue or the gilded like doing that. And then it's kind of scuffed because it wasn't efficient to go and like smelt cannonballs. But I think at this point, and I guess that's another segue into like if iron rates should be alted or if they shouldn't be alted. Because if you alt, you use less cannonballs and you can like dance and barrage the hellhounds. And with the new furnace, it's probably more efficient to do that and then smelt cannonballs from scratch compared to doing like Venibo without the cannon.
And would they be goading alts?
No. Yeah, just dancers, and then you use a cannon, but you use like 70 cannonballs per clue. But you could also goading it, or like there's different methods. Like in theory, you don't need a cannon to barrage hellhounds, but
Are those NPCs on like an exclusion list? Because I know with the
No,
goading
no,
pots,
no. They're not on
It
the
works?
exclusion list. Yeah,
Okay.
it works. I usually use a splash alt to grab aggro. So like you have 2 dancers and then you have a splash alt. So if the hellhounds wander around, you just splash them and get the aggro.
Yeah, I guess maybe it'd be worth mentioning for like the folks listening if they don't know, like for on an Iron Man, if you use an alt with the goading pot, Jagex made like some arbitrary exceptions where it will ruin the Iron Man kill credit, and that's in like common places where you'd want to use this for alting, like in the catacombs, a lot of the Slayer NPCs, or like in the smoke dungeon for Dust Devils, and that's the smoke dungeon in the desert. I think also in the I think that's also for the smoke devils in the other dungeon.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
think so.
it's not true for all NPCs. It's kind of this arbitrary list. It's pretty inconsistent.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
also
but also
confused about that. I thought it was all NPCs, but apparently not.
No,
Either.
there's a list. But I also
Yeah.
think if people started using it as like against hellhounds, then Jagex would probably add it. So it's also one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's when I talk about iron rates, I talk about dancers. I don't talk about like splash alt to maximize KPH or whatever. And I would like if we calked it, I'm pretty sure it would be more efficient to use cannon dancers and then smelt your own cannonballs compared to doing Venibo without a cannon.
I'd actually be curious to see those calcs because I have a feeling that Venibo would be better, but I don't know what the rate is.
Like what you can get like 20. Well, it depends if you use a scepter or not, and then ether is involved. But like you can get way about 20 heart clues like banked per hour if you use dancers, and if you use a Venibo, it's like 10, 11.
Yeah, it's 10, 11 for Venibo. I remember that, but
Yeah,
I didn't know you can get
and
that much.
like
That's crazy.
and how many cannibals can you smelt per hour? It's like
7K.
a lot now.
Is
No,
that
I
with
think
the
it's
new
more.
sailing one?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the sailing one and the noted thing.
You have to test it out properly because that might be cool. Then
Yeah.
that looks kind of fun to
But-
just craft your own cannonballs and
But
properly use it.
but the thing is, like, it wouldn't be efficient to use the cannonballs like with the Venibo. And then there's another can of worms. Like when it comes to Iron Man rates, should we assume people alt or no alt? Because
Alright.
right now we do all the rates no alt. But yeah, that's another.
Alright, I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. I'm team no alt for Iron Man. The main reason I
team alt.
started this Iron Man was because I didn't want to alt. So
I'm team alt to reasonable degree.
define reasonable degree.
If mains are doing like 10 alt giant mole, for example, that would be unreasonable. Well, let's say you're running like 1 to 4 alts for iron, and it doesn't involve like transferring supplies or like trading it or whatever through shops or anything, cheating like that. As long as it's like just dancers, like Vika said, I think it's completely fair game. Or the Greg's Zami method to gather the mobs.
Yeah. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, if and now there's a bit of a precedent for this already, and maybe that's kind of a moot point, maybe because you would maybe say, that shouldn't be the case. But I think for on the skilling side of things, like one small example of this as well is I think the fire making, or no, I think it's cooking EHP is having an alt pre-light fires on like as you're hopping at the Taibo Lanai shop.
Yeah, I would
So it's
consider
yeah.
that reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. And also, like, as a counter argument against not wanting to alt, which I gotta be honest, like, when I created my Iron Man, it was also that I didn't want to play multiple accounts. And then I just ended playing, like, a lot of accounts and dancers or whatever. But the thing is, like, if you don't want to alt, that's fine. But then you shouldn't get the max rates. That's kind of how I see it. Like, if you could alt and get max rate to a certain, like, obviously if it's something ridiculous or whatever. But I think especially when it comes to dancers, because for dancers, you can just take 2 level 3 accounts and bond them. And Iron Man should have infinite alt GP if they're, like, if we're gonna talk about late game irons, like, they should be able to bond 2 alts, no problem. And then it's really a question of, like, why shouldn't they do this? Like, is the Iron Man rates supposed to be efficient or casual? Kinda.
Yeah, and I maybe my opinion is like changed on this over the years, maybe, but I think that like this maybe comes back to how Iron Man can play and like benefit from other players, like in general, like including raids. Like maybe they should have been more like maybe the ship has already sailed because they let Iron Man even just like raid with other people. Because you could have more of an extreme opinion about it, where they should stand alone across the board. And then if you allow it in these certain pieces of group content, and then there's like like Nex, for example, or Yama. Well, you could do Yama solo perfectly fine, or like Nex, like smaller teams versus larger teams. I don't know. It's you kind of have to assert your opinion for like some of these other things where it's like Slayer. It's like, okay, well that is supposed to be like a done alone, but then there's the partner Slayer system in the game, so it's like, well, there's kind of an intention for like team play there. Although I think are Irons barred out of that system?
Yeah,
I think the ship
so.
has sailed
The
a
ship
long
is
time
sailed.
ago. Yeah, long time ago.
That's kind of the boat I've come around to. Like I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think if I could go back and I would decide what Jagex does, like they should have stuck with the bone salt counts. They should have just banned every Iron trying to abuse all other players. And when they released Chambers of Serix, they should have done it so you can only solo as an Iron Man. And when they released Tab, they should have done it so you can only solo as an Iron Man, but then scale it like the HP down to solo, but still make it so like probably nobody would complete it and then until books like solid. But I think generally when it comes to how they approach the game, especially with like the mega scaling, like that ship has sailed a long time ago. And if we're gonna say that the Iron like efficient rates are using like a 3-man CM team and whatever, like you have to rely on other players. You have to play the game efficiently. It kind of doesn't make sense to say that, but yeah, when it comes to dancers, Iron Man shouldn't have to bond 2 alts and play like 2 AFK accounts. Like I don't know, it's kind of
why
weird.
is the line there? Yeah.
Yeah. Like if it was only scaled to like solo content and like you make the rate solo CMs and solo Toa and whatever, like okay, sure, I could see it, but now we assume Irons rely on other players, and then we say, but you don't have to log into accounts, that's too much.
Well, it's different relying between other players and relying on yourself having multiple accounts to play. Because with that logic, should we buff all other bosses for mains to be everything alted to the absolute max? Like where do we draw the line there too?
I mean, the line is drawn already on like making it like you could make it so you have like 10 alts for Calva Queen and Corp or whatever, but they draw a line on like 4 accounts, I think. And I think the same thing makes sense for Irons. Like you draw the line at 2 accounts, and the accounts can't be like very high level or whatever, because obviously at a certain point it starts getting like kind of silly. But especially dancers, I think like anyone, if they want to be efficient, they could just bond 2 accounts and then dance Hellhounds. And if they don't want to do that, like, should they get the efficient rate? Because the way I see it is not only like how we look at the EHC, but also, for example, when I do hard clues, I do like, I think 12 per hour maybe, just by like barraging Hellhounds and then max efficient solving and whatever. And then I just get way over EHC when I do it. And my hours like get further inflated just because we set the rate at doing like AFK Venibo with Ragier.
But that's also true for mains boosting, like paying people to boost and stuff like that. So you can't really avoid that.
Oh yeah, but the difference is that like it's very like if we compare costs and like investments and effort and whatever, it's a lot less effort to have 2 dancer Hellhound compared to like boosting or using 10 alts or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it kind of comes down to like, should the efficient rate be efficient or should it be like chill?
Well, whatever you guys do, you can't force me to alt. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly mention.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly mention that you said about the alts for mains EHP. So currently it's not the absolute max alt amount, like 10 alts at KQ. It's case by case basis, pretty much at like reasonable level of alts. Maybe like 5 to 7 max. That's about how they're done currently. But for the update to EHP I was talking earlier about, I could probably add their like max altet rate as well, so it's a little clearer.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see.
That what? Sorry,
Yeah.
like the max rate? Or...
Yeah, like because there are things like I don't know. I think it was supposed to like 1 + 11 KQ or Giant Mole that the Oblivion guys are doing and getting like 200 mole kills an hour, which there will probably only be like 1 or 2 people ever going to be doing that.
Yeah, I also saw Olton. He was doing 2 world KQ with like 14 alts or something, and you would hop between the worlds and kill KQ. But that's like very unrealistic for like 99.99% of the community. So
yeah, I think setting realistic, like it's similar to Colosseum and Inferno. Like obviously people can do it super fast, but that's not really realistic. So we set the rates lower, and I think the same thing applies to using alts. Like I would argue that okay, Hellhound Dancers is very like available and chill, and you don't have to do that, but then you're not really being efficient. But I would argue Greg's method is a lot less available because then you also need Grandmaster combat achievements, and the time investment to get that, especially if you look at it like not only the time to get every achievement just if you do it one go, but also like for people to achieve it. Is that really worth it to save some hours on Sammy?
Oh, you're talking about
like I'm not on the
Venom.
Yeah, like when you Venom and alt and whatever.
Do you mind explaining
so
that real quick, Greg? Just
yeah, Greg can explain it if you want.
Yeah, and by the way, I think Travis had come up with a new way of doing it where you essentially go out, and I'm not even sure he venoms them. But you'd have to see his video on it. But he gave a demonstration where it is better with alts. He was able to get like 41 or 42 kills per hour, but even doing it solo, he can get 40 kills per hour, running out, taking off his Zammy item to aggro a bunch of stuff onto him, and then I think he just straight up kills them with Blood Barrage.
Yeah, I remember.
I think he does like an Ice Barrage to stack to like freeze it in place, and then Blood Barrage finish it off. But yeah, the basic idea there, I think you said I should give it an overview of it, is that with you can like with the God Wars bosses, there's this long like 1.5 or 2 minute respawn time. I can't quite recall.
90 seconds.
And 90 seconds, okay. And you can bypass that as soon as you kill the boss if you have enough KC to just re-enter the room right away. And with the higher tiers of CAs, that lowers the KC requirement to re-enter. And so if you're at the top tier being GM, then it's only 15 room KC to re-enter. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it is.
It's been a while. But yeah, and so you got some KC in the room, you kill a few outside, and really you can be bypassing a lot of those respawn times. I think currently the Krill, the Zammy EHB is based off of Travis's like 40 kills per hour, no alts, because that kind of bypasses or kind of skirts the whole discussion about that. Although actually, maybe Michael could clarify on that, because again, that does require GM, which is kind of the topic here. I don't know if we actually took the full rate on that. What happened with that?
Let me go check 1 second. Metrics.
I don't exactly remember about Zammy, but we agreed to no GM rates. That's
Zammy is 32, so it's not Travis.
Okay.
Method. It's normal Zammy, I guess.
Yeah, that's just the Schiller rate.
Yeah, because Travis's method with no alts can get up to like 40.
I think it was 45 with alts, by the way. I remember.
Oh, that high.
He sent me a VOD. It was pretty cracked. For a God Wars boss, that's crazy.
But yeah, I think when it comes down to it, we have to like draw lines, and obviously you can't expect people to like do something that only a couple people in the game can even handle. But when it comes to like playing efficiently, for example, when we look at the CM rates, those assume you're pretty good and you have 2 pretty good team members. Like you don't get the EHB just being a casual without the best gear and whatever. And then if we compare that effort with, for example, just using dancers on Hellhounds, is that really that much worse? Like I understand from a perspective of not wanting to alt as an Iron Man, but since you can do it and it's efficient, like I'm not sure. I
Oh.
think alt meta, like to a certain degree, should be included.
I think you
started
made a
with
good point
CM
earlier,
rates.
though.
That one is so crazy high. I never
Yeah.
reached that CM rate in all my 2K CMs. I think it's 3 per hour for irons, which you basically have to do like either the no prep trios perfectly or 5-man like giga efficiently. Which maybe it's a skill issue from my part, but
And no prep trios are viable. You just have to be like your whole team's got to be really locked in, kind of on the same page with the strategies, and like pinging to swap tank, like doing all med, someone's running low kind of thing. But Wiki, I think you brought up a good point earlier about whether it's efficient to go for GM. I probably agree with you that it's just not. That's like if you only care about collection log progress, that's just like a big waste of time. Now, one way around that, this may be a cope. I think they should just add it on the collection log, and then
that's true. That is efficient. Right. But for now, like if we just look at the Sammy method, the reason why I was against that was because I don't think it's reasonable to expect people to go for like GM unless more bosses can be abused. But it's only like the God Wars bosses. And I think we could develop metas for like but I think even if we like develop metas for all of them, like I'm not sure the time investment is worth it. Like even if you practice in an alt and then just full send it first time every time, like there's a lot of CAs that take us. Like I don't know, you probably have a better estimate, but I would say it probably takes at least 40 hours to go for, right? Like if you can nail everyone.
If you practice in advance, sure, but I probably synced more than that for my GM.
Yeah, of course, it's gonna take people hundreds of hours. But I mean, like, even if we assume you just nail it first try, like, that's a lot of hours to save some time on
did a series on that, didn't he? Didn't he do a speed run?
Was that a speed run or a low percent, right?
He
just tried to go for Circuit,
he did both, right?
Yeah, I think he did both. But I didn't watch it, so I don't want to comment. I don't know. But I do think GM is worth going for, but not necessarily for the efficiency, just because it's a very satisfying grind.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say that's not worth. But I mean more like in a macro efficiency. Like if we're gonna include rates and whatever, I think the reason why I don't think like Greg's method should be included, or rather be scaled down a bit, is because it's not worth going for GM to do that method. And there's no other, like, I guess next slightly, but not that much. So yeah,
it's good.
I think with next you get enough KC. I think you get enough KC to like re-enter most.
But like the question then is like, do you save time compared to getting it?
For next, you can get like 50 rune kill count and just send duos for the rest of your life if you don't die. It's pretty cracked.
Yeah, so it's not really that impactful there.
Well, it's very impactful. Without GM, you wouldn't be able to
because the re-enter cost.
Exactly,
never mind. You're right. Yeah.
But that assumes you need like a lot of ancient items. You need like full Torva and stuff, because the more ancient items you have equipped, the more rune kill count you get back. So like when I was doing duos with Browntree, he would sustain the whole time, but I was missing Torva pieces, so maybe it was a skill issue on my side as well. But I would like 100 rune kill count would last me like 5 hours of duos. It was crazy. It would last a long time.
I hadn't thought that would matter in the middle of the boss kill too, because I recall hearing that mattered when you're outside killing the NPCs to get your initial kill count. But so you're saying that matters while you're in the room too?
Yeah, right. It also counts for the minions and the next kill.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
And you would actually like not bring a ZCB and only bring arrows and a T-bow, and you'd bring the ancient blessing, so you get an extra like ancient item. It was pretty tech. Shout out Browntree. Sorry, random slide tangent. So my next question for you guys, I want to know if you guys had the power, and I'm talking to like you guys, but I'm sure like you actually all have the power. But if you had the power to change anything EHC rate wise, what would you do?
I don't know if this is cop out, or directly changing rate, but I wish there were more items in the log that actually require like significant amount of time investment, like the sailing clocks initially, or moon helmets, more stuff like that. So that if you want to go to camp, let's say Nightmare or a boss, your options are basically just go raids, which you need team, or go Nightmare. That's the only place you can actually like camp for weeks or months. Seems like everything there these days is sub 100 hours, or it's raids. or clues as well. But I just wish there was more, items that are not done in a week.
Okay, well
And so
that's
this question is like
clog-wise.
from. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I know what you were gonna say, but I meant more like the EHC rates, not necessarily new clogs. But we can do both. Actually, that's a good question as well. Like, what would you change in terms of EHC rates if you could?
I don't know if I would change. I can't think of anything right now, at least. Or do you mean like it's inaccurate?
Yeah, like would you buff like Elite Clue EHC rate? Would you nerf Volcano rate? What would you do?
I mean, I guess I'm responsible for them, so I have to say that they're all perfect.
Yeah, he does have the power to change it.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably the
Yeah,
wrong person to
that's
ask.
pretty
It's
funny.
like asking a JMod, like, what will you develop? Like,
Okay, if I could change like without people being upset that the rates like change, I would make the clue rates so giga efficient that nobody can achieve them, including me. Well, obviously, like you can achieve it, but like I would make the master solving rate like 12 per hour, and like the elite solving rate like probably 17.5 or 18 because it's a lot easier, and like hard clue rate probably 25, and just go like
25?
really, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I retired from pushing the clue agenda.
I would
Yeah,
love
for
to
me-
see Shades be the meta, but also for Irons the same rate, like we discussed earlier. Sorry, you're.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's actually
yeah.
true. If I could change one thing, I would just return it to the shades method. I would make the Hellhound method for irons to be assuming you have dancers and barrage and whatever, and then also I would make Dragonstone armor passive. I think that's about it.
Like fully passive, like even like post green log clues, like.
Yeah, but no, actually, yeah, I think I would make it at least less because I think we kind of went with a very low number just to not make it too crazy. But yeah, okay, maybe I would just tweak the number slightly actually because I think it makes sense that most irons need to grind. And like even if you do Seracnus, that means you're doing a less efficient method, obviously, so you're losing elite clues. So yeah, maybe I would just tweak the numbers a bit. But yeah, I would make the clue the clue rate so high.
Okay.
Watch out.
Well, can we kick Wiki from the temple already? I'm just kidding. Sorry. Greg?
But yeah, that's mainly because the way I see like efficient rates is that you look at the rates and you're like, oh, so I can become this good, and then you can try to improve. Like for example, when I look at the CM rates and whatever, I'm like, okay, so if I would become a giga gamer, get two other people like do efficient CMs, this is what I could do. Instead of like just settling to feel good about the number that I can get casually.
Actually, to be honest, I have something about that because I don't personally view the EHP rates like that. Like, if I want to see how good I can get, for example, let's say Whisper, then I go check the 6 hours. I will definitely not go look at the rate. I'll just see what the 6 hour guys are doing, and then
Oh,
use
right,
that.
yeah. I mean that's what I'm doing as well because you can't really like if you look at the boss and it's 90% efficient and it's maybe a chiller boss, like that doesn't say anything. And the same
Yeah,
thing like if
exactly.
you look at the master clue solving, it's like 10 per hour, and that doesn't really say anything. But if we would have the max rates, then it could be used like that. But maybe it should just be like like the thing you mentioned that we have like two columns, one that says the rate that we like scale from, and one that says like the efficient rate and has video footage so people can see how you can achieve it. I
Yeah.
think that's the best compromise because like I don't really care what number it shows on the screen. Like I don't care about my HP or EHC. Like the only thing I care about is having the knowledge to see what you can improve on and what you can like. Yeah, if you look at the clue rates and you're like, okay, so I'm already at max F, then you know like you're not missing take, you're not doing other. And yeah.
Yeah, and I pretty much had the same take on that. My thought for what I would change is just making like rates like max F for the bosses. But like Michael was saying, maybe we could do that on the website where there's another column that shows the actual max F, maybe with links to videos, and that would make me happy. I don't really care too much then about the 90% difference or whatever the number specifically is.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make log chasers go under 2,500 AC. Like, that's not my goal. My goal
get
is
them out of there, kick them out.
my goal is just to provide the info so people can see. Because, for example, like someone asked me in the Temple Court, like, how can you achieve 10 per hour? And I was like, 10 per hour, that was the casual rate. And like, here's how you like can get 12. But I think, like, I don't really care what numbers shown on the account. I just want the information to be as available as possible, and like VODs and stuff. I'm gonna try to be better. Like, maybe I should record some solving and like upload it.
You could like record a VOD of you solving 2 hours of Masters and then just voice over it and just explain like
Yeah, I did that with hard clues a long time ago, and then like that was so like a lot different. But I should do that. I guess the problem is every time I just look at my footage, I'm like, oh no, this is scuffed. And then I delete it. But I should just stop over criticizing my solving, I guess.
Cool. Okay, so I guess the next question is, what is more impressive, EHP versus EHC? So skilling versus clogging. And I know I'm just asking these questions with like 4 cloggers and Mikael ex-skiller, so it's probably going to be a pretty basic answer.
When it comes to records, I suppose there are no really real records on when it comes to collection logging, but in the record department or just hours put into the playing the game, EHP is definitely far ahead. But if you just directly compare the hours, like total amount, I don't think there's like too big of a difference. I think it's just pretty equal.
I would say EHP is a lot more impressive because mainly because the rates are so like efficient and try hard compared to a lot of clog rates, and I guess boss rates as well. So I guess it's clear, like Mikael said, like that part of the community has pushed everything a lot further than we have. And maybe in a couple years, like if people embrace not caring about what the number is shown and more about like what the max you can get, then maybe it catches up. But for now, I feel like especially records and like hours and whatever is a lot more impressive than the GSP.
Yeah, and I have the same kind of opinion with that. I'd say I think because with EHC you can really just get like lucky with that. So EHP like for skilling has got a lot more backing than that. EHC is more interesting like in the sense that like I think the cap is way higher for actually completing everything. Like if you, I think, or Michael, you're more of a skiller, so you'd know with going for 200 mil all, how much EHP is that?
Like
I think it's like
13,000 for mains.
Yeah. It used to be when we started the site, it was like 16,000, and on CML when I started playing, it was closer to 30,000. So it has gone down a lot.
30,000, damn.
Yeah, but I started pretty early on. That was like 2014.
Oh, okay. The rates were very ass on chair clicking. There was no like new stuff. I would be kind of curious to see like the change in EHP for 200 mil all over time, and the same thing with EHC. It'd be kind of cool to see like Doom was released. It takes 14 hours to green log, but it makes Muspa, it makes Zora, it makes this boss, it makes CMs, it makes all these faster. So overall, Doom was like a 60-hour time save, and then we do that for like the whole history. But that might be like
that would be
crazy
cool.
amount of work.
Doom may have been the only example of something like that, because normally every update that adds like kind of a hefty pet, it's adding overall hours. But I think you might be right about that one was an overall reduction.
Yeah. But there's also like other changes, like when they're about to buff aerial fishing, that's probably gonna cut the hours in half. So like there's other like quality of life stuff that could buff, but it's nothing crazy.
It feels so good being a waiter. I'm just winning every day.
Classic waiters win.
Except for the Venom tech.
Yeah, except for the Venom tech.
Oh my god. The worst part was like I was fully aware of it, but I was just so locked into doing hard clues at the time. I was like, nah, I need to grind
Making
more
this
hard
hard
clues.
clues.
Could you
Yeah.
explain the Venom tech quickly, Greg, for those who were not alive in 2021 or whenever that was? 2022.
So I don't remember the exact details, but essentially you could venom monsters. I believe across the game, and their like the venom timer on them, it would not like reset when you leave the area or go far away, and it would just keep ticking while like increasing up to that cap of 20. And so basically what you do is for the obsidian collection log in the Tazar area, you would go around with a serp helm and a blowpipe, and you would venom all of them as fast as you can. And then you could actually get them all, and then you could just do some other activity. You could do some agility laps or go do something else, and they would all passively die. So you'd be getting like hundreds of kills per hour. It's like ridiculously fast. Basically, every single time you blowpipe one monster, every 2 ticks, that's a kill. So it was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, but then they patched that.
Yeah, they patched
So
it pretty
so the
quick.
venom resets.
Was it that early? I thought it was like 2023 because I feel like I lurked the Log Chaser Hunters Discord and like saw it, but
It was in
maybe I'm
Log
just like
Hunters,
confusing
yeah.
memories.
But I
But because
remember.
I started clogging like 2023 and I like started this account during the pandemic. So
I think it was 2023. Yeah,
I think
the
so.
meme picture I have is titled Tazar Message of 2023.
Okay, good. I was like confused. I was like, well, what? But yeah, I remember doing hard clues, and I was like, I'll do that later. And then they patched it, of course. So
I remember noticing the bug. Like I think it was like in the next, people were getting like the venom would stay when you entered the room, and then I was confused and I tested it out. And this was before like the Tazar tech was discovered, and I figured it out. And then I already greened Tazars back then, so the first thing I did is I went to Lava Dragons with a Trident and a Serphelm, and I was hopping between 4 worlds, tagging 8 Lava Dragons, and I was getting like 160k prayer XP an hour and 2.6 elites an hour. Just doing that.
that's crazy.
It was so much fun. Did it for like a solid week non-stop. And that was like the clue solving was like not the same as today, obviously. So like I would get 1 elite and then I have to leave and solve it. But it was still so much fun. And I banked a bunch of Lava Dragon shards and bones and prayer XP. It was cool.
Yeah.
Good times.
There's this interesting tech that I learned about that I didn't know prior, where when I was doing the venoming of the Tazars, I was looking for another activity to do. So I was also trying to venom the wyvern, the Fossil Island wyverns. But they're in single weight combat in the non-Slayer cave. But what I had learned that I didn't know prior is that like as the Tazars were dying in the background, like hundreds of them dying very frequently, like every time one of them dies, it would let me switch targets in single weight combat to venom the next one. And I asked in the summit server, I'm like how's this working? Like, but that was interesting to learn about.
Good old memory lane. All right, next question I have. Jagex clogs are very inconsistent or confusing. So I think the first example that I think it was you, Michael, that mentioned was the Maggot King. The Venators were initially on a whole separate section, and then they decided to merge it in the Slayer section instead of adding it to the boss. So if you were Jagex, what would you fix? Would you like do a cleanup? Would you like add new items like you mentioned earlier? What would you do exactly here? Michael or Wiki? Or
I can start, but the original idea was a little bit different what I kind of pitched it as, because I, as somebody who is responsible for putting together all the categories, I have to ideally follow what Jagex does, but I have huge disagreements with what they do with the categories sometimes, and I wanted to do it in a different way. So I was just kind of like want to gauge how other people feel about it, and if I manually go and fix the Maggot King collection log category, then would people get upset about it, or like how far can I push it with people still being happy about it?
So you're proposing to like on Temple screw Jagex, put the Venators with Maggot King, and that's it.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
And maybe do some other changes as well to other categories.
What other
I
changes?
think there are some other changes, like Gilded and Third Age. I believe Michael has like improved how those are laid out on the website, where he made like a distinct category for the Gilded and Third Age items, and then for like I think like for elites and masters, there are like those mega rares that are specific to that tier. Like for example, on elites, there's the Ring of Nature and Lava Dragon Mask. and he I believe he's put those on like the elite specific page instead of like mixed in with these other mega rare pages. I like the way he's done that. It makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. I don't want to take full credit of that because this was the real one's idea, and I just agreed with it so much so that I just wanted to do it. I would give the credit to him.
Yeah,
But
I'll say
doing
that
other
was
stuff like that,
Bro, by the way.
yeah, just go.
troll.
Go.
That was
Yeah.
a good change. I really like that. It makes it a lot cleaner to look at the clue section. But unfortunately, I have to disagree. I think we should keep it as Jagex did it because it gets confusing. Except for
Like
clues.
across the board.
Yeah, like I would not merge Venators with Maggot King. I would leave it as is, like how Jagex did it. I think it's in Slayer section right now.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid, but that's kind of how they decided to do it. So, and as we all know, Jagex is consistently inconsistent. A classic.
In my opinion, like either we ignore Jagex, which I support Mikael doing like the good thing and being consistent and like ignoring Jagex, because I feel like if we have it a lot cleaner, then maybe one day when Jagex look back at the collection log, they clean it up and they make it the same way. Because right now, like if we just do it the same way they did, then maybe they don't like know there's a different way. But the other reason, like if we want to have it like you propose, just stick consistent, then Temple should just have like when you click a log, you see like the Jagex classic thing, but then you have like a toggle so you can look like at the clean version, because I so much prefer being able to look at Third Age Gilded like in one page. It's so much better. I hate Jagex for like making people look through. Well, I don't hate, but yeah, it's so confusing and silly just especially having the lava mask in the Ring of Nature and whatever in the mega rare section. It's just so stupid.
Okay, cool.
I'm sure actually LGR, the TRO, the real one, had more ideas what to merge, especially on the MISC sections. We didn't go through with those yet, but he had a lot of ideas there, if I remember correctly. So we could cook more, but I'm not sure if we should go that far yet.
We have to communicate.
I think
to
you
the
should just have a
Gmods.
toggle.
Toggle would be nice actually, because then it doesn't actually change anything if you don't want.
Yeah,
to
then you can cook as much as you want. Nobody can complain. But also, maybe Jagex could look at that and say, "Oh, this is good. let's do that."
But do you actually think they would fix it if Mikael did it properly in Temple? Like, would they actually care?
I don't think so. But I think if we just do it the way Jagex does, without like ever trying something else, then there's no way Jagex is gonna fix it. But if a Yamod is interested in clogging and like want to do a pet project on their like thing, maybe they look at it and like, oh, this is better. Yeah, I'm gonna make that my like 2-week project maybe.
Or maybe
Yeah, I think-
next summer sweep up, a little clog sweep up. Clean up the
Yeah,
categories.
yeah, exactly. So I think it should remain, and we should just have a toggle where it's like Jagex version, clean version. Because I agree, it gets confusing if people are not aware we're showing it in a different way. But I really like the way it's shown, and I think we should like clean up the MISC session. We shouldn't have a bunch of duplicates in a bunch of different like weird spots.
Dude, Fuzzy just got a third age axe. The CC's going crazy.
Oh,
Holy
shit.
Oh,
Holy!
That's crazy. Right in the
That's
middle of the
crazy.
recording. Oh shit. Sorry, that hella distracted me. Okay, cool. So we're running lower on time for me because I have a dead stop soon, but I want to go to the next topic. And I learned before we started this recording that literally only Greg has done the Maggot King. So this should be interesting, I guess. So I'm just gonna ask all my questions to you, Greg, and you can comment.
is that including the quest too? Has nobody done the quest in the call here?
I did the quest. I needed the music cape
Okay.
and the quest cape,
Okay.
but I
So you
never.
can comment on that too, then. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool quest. That's about it. Like, I didn't mind it, but I just wanted to get it through so I could get back to clues. That's about
Did
it.
you like the boss mechanics and everything? Or?
I think it was very cool. I hope they do like those mechanics in a different boss. I really liked like the dodging. It felt very satisfying, especially with the punish. So, like if you do it correctly, you get rewarded. I like that kind of stuff, and I feel like Jagex have played around that. I heard Maggot King also has a punish, so like, yeah, it's cool stuff. I hope they do more with it.
I just really love the no elite clues on release, waiters winning. So that's why I decided to avoid.
Yeah, same.
I think someone in Log Chasers even made a Reddit post in like all caps, like saying like, "Hey Jagex, like, hey, don't forget about those elite clues." And sure enough,
Surprise,
the streak continues.
You know, did you see the argument that the JMod wrote? He said lore-wise, it makes no sense it drops elites, and then someone replied, but the superior boss drops elites. And then JMod was like, oh. I was like, okay.
What is he talking about?
Well, I think they just maybe forgot or didn't want to or whatever.
I mean, honestly, I feel like at this point, obviously, like there's a big conspiracy. Some like higher up Yama doesn't want to change the elite meta at all, and that's why like I don't know what's going on, but I feel like they're very happy about Shades having a purpose. I think they're happy about like the Wildly being more alive, whatever. Like I don't know exactly what the reasoning is, but clearly they don't want to add a boss and make it best in slot elites. Probably because they know then cloggers are gonna perm grind it, and then like the casual players are gonna cry that the prices crash. So I don't know the reasoning, but I don't think they always forget. I think like at this point, obviously they're like, yeah, let's add elites the next week.
The best argument I read was, I don't remember who said that, so I'm not gonna give credit, but they said essentially that they want players to full send the boss on release and not like deviate to do clue scrolls. Which kind of makes sense. I understand that point of view.
Yeah, I guess that's possible as well. But then it also makes it so people who want clues just won't do it the first week.
But we're such a minority. I'm saying words like.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Yeah, so I don't think it matters too much, but I do agree it kind of sucks though. But it is what it is. So what do you think about the Maggot King boss, Greg? How'd you like it? How much? What's your kill count right now, actually? And are you green?
Yeah, I'm still missing the pet. I'm doing the destroy method. I'm a little over 1900 kill count so far. I finished the items around like 800, and I've been doing the destroy since.
Do you like the destroy being like the chance of getting an egg, and then the egg has a chance to get the pet, or do you prefer just straight up destroy?
Now, yeah, if it has to be a destroy system, I do think that this thing they did with the egg system gives it like a little bit more flavor. You know, it's like, ooh, I got an egg that's like a little bit more likely. You know, there's like the 50-50 egg. That's kind of fun to see. Overall, I really don't like the destroy systems in general because, I mean, like part of the joy of like going for pets is like all this other loot you get along the way, and just to get nothing, it just like feels kind of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there was that comment earlier about like, late game Iron Man with a bunch of PVM dupes should be able to bond up a couple alts, but if they keep doing this, like boss after boss, you're just gonna get nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but yeah, overall the boss mechanics I think are a lot of fun. There's a lot to kind of min max and optimize like little things. Like for example, like every time it does that screech, and you have to change prayers, or you take your prayers off, and you dodge the rocks. During that period when it's screeching, it's got lower defense, so that's like the optimal time to shoot your ZCP spec. I love all the like the different methods for like how you do that. The punish timing. Do you want to drag the boss, go in and out? There's like this weird method you could do with the scythe. Well, I maybe shouldn't say too much at once because that's a little overwhelming. But yeah, overall I love it. There's a lot of intricate mechanics. I'd say it's a lot better than like your average boss.
Good to know. And the uniques, like the amulet and the spec weapon, is that in a good spot, the drop rate wise and all that? What do you think?
Here, let me pull up the wiki.
I think the spec weapon is like 1 in 550 and the amulet is like 1 in 350 or something like that. Let me pull it up too.
Yeah, wiki says 340 for the amulet and 520 for the Kiston.
That's not that bad.
And I can maybe do a quick drop rate thing here. So if you want to get both of the uniques, that's going to be about 654 kill count, my tool is saying here.
Okay.
And so if it's around 30 kills per hour, which maybe is a little bit controversial with one of the following questions here about whether irons should be expected to use the harm. But that aside, if it's just kind of napkin math, like ballpark, if it's around 30 kills per hour, and it's 650, so you're looking at about like 22 hours to get that. So for the uniques, it's actually not that bad.
It's pretty quick, and I think the pet rate is like 1 in 1500 now. Someone did the math with the destroy, So that's actually not that bad either.
Yeah, on a regular kill 3.5k, and then with the destroys with like all the different eggs you can get and like their own respective chances, it averages off like 1502, I think.
So it's like reasonable. So you're probably dry right now, actually. Now that I think of it, you are.
Maybe close, yeah, because I've done like 800 on the 3500 rate, and then 1500, or sorry, 1100 KC on the 1500 rate. So probably getting close to like 1x rate.
Okay, and what is the EHP right now? You said it was controversial. Has it been decided?
Well, yeah, I say it's controversial because I could see people making some points about how, like, for Iron EHP, you shouldn't be expected to get pages to like use this max setup. But if you use the max setup, and there's maybe a couple different angles of looking at this. If you go like full sweat mode with Derox and weapon switching, and like you're not going to make a misclick that's going to get you killed, that's like 32 kills per hour. If you do more of a safer approach with Derox, like no weapon switching, you can get like high 31, like 31.8 or something like that. And then for other methods that are like less risky, not involving Derox, you can get like 30 or 31, like max sweating. And so then, like what that means for like if we do that like 90% off, I think in the Temple Discord we had discussed like setting it around 28. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
For
reasonable.
I put it at 32 for mains and 31 for irons as the optimal rate in the upcoming rate change sheet. So that would turn into 30 for mains and 29 for irons as the actual rate with the new system, which
Okay.
it probably would be like 28 with the current one. But I'm not sure if I can get it out. I probably should already change it to something like 28, but I've just been lazy. I kind of want to get this done and then already get the rate into this new system. But we'll see. The rate should be lower than what it is right now. It's 33. It's the rate I estimated the boss would be.
Yeah, irons can. I don't even think you can hit that, even like theoretically, like max everything.
Yeah, the 32 currently.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said there's a lot of discussion with the harm because of the pages and the Sunfire charges or runes, or I don't remember.
Yeah, it's quite expensive to use. Yeah, I think a lot of people maybe aren't even affected by this decision because I think having a harm staff on an Iron Man is like more of a that's more of an obscure thing because a lot of Irons haven't camped Nightmare for that long, so it's only like the few folks that have like done that or gotten lucky on it that this is really a question for them. Yeah, so I did a little bit of math on it. I think if you don't have the burning pages, like if you got too lucky at Wintertod, then I think it might just be straight up bad to have to go grind burning pages for the sake of using it here.
But let's say we assume that you greenlock the Titans first.
Yeah.
And get the pages. Would it be reasonable still?
Well, when you're going for greenlog at Titans, though, you'll get some pages while looting.
Yeah,
you just sacrifice. Yeah.
So you won't get any. You get a few pages passively going for the staff and the prayer, but not much.
Yeah. Unless you're me, though. So for the Phoenix, I went like 170 mil fire making drive, so I've got this enormous stack of burning pages. So I just full send it.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I ran some other tests without using that. I think with like shadow camping or ZCP camping, you can still get around 27 kills per hour. Oh. So it's not that much worse.
So that's probably what I'm. And what's better between shadow and ZCB? Are they both equally good or?
My sample size is pretty small. It indicated shadow, and I think that shadow is less annoying to use than the ZCB because with the ZCB you got 2 sets of divines and the ZCB damage.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of bad. Oh yeah, and my tests are saying 27. That was like using like kind of a chiller melee setup, just like Soul Reaper or side camping, kind of like for kills per hour. It would be a little higher, I guess, if you wanted to use Derox. But yeah, again, if you're ZCP camping, that might be kind of incompatible. That'd be very annoying.
You have to redemption a lot.
Yeah.
And do you assume Blood Fury or do you ignore that?
Yeah, for my samples, because I wanted to make sure I got a good trip length. Like 2 sets of divines and like an inventory full of prayer pots. I would take the Blood Fury, but barely use it, just for like like a few hits on like some kills, where basically it's just there to like protect against bad RNG where you get no supply drops and like your trip would just end. But yeah, then normally just use it a little bit and then go back to the Rancor.
Cool. Trying to take notes for when I go for it, like probably next month. Alright, anything else to discuss about the Maggot game? Any other facts or like info you wanted to share, Greg?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Yeah. There's fun little nuances to kind of get better at, like some like certain timing to like prevent an acid splat, like to prevent an acid splat on the tile you're going to use for the punish method. But yeah, I'm not sure there's like too much here yet. But overall, I think it's a great boss. I like how there's like there's a bit there to kind of sink your teeth into and optimize. I know like there's this other cool mechanic. I know since some of you guys haven't done the Maggot King in the call here, like when those I don't know if you've seen clips of like people doing the boss, but like those grubs that come out and they go across the arena. There's this cool thing they added where while they're midair, if you shoot it with a standard range weapon, it will one-shot them and like hit them for a 30. And so that's kind of cool because it makes the Web Weaver best in slot there because you don't need arrow slot, and it's got 9 tile range, so it's really good for that. And so then for like optimizing your gameplay there, it does the same mechanic as the grubs at Doom, where when you shoot it with the Web Weaver, which is a 3-tick weapon, it'll like let's say you just did an Elder Maul, which is like a 6-tick hit. When you shoot it with a Web Weaver, the tick after, it'll reset your cooldown. It lets you shoot it the tick after, and it puts your cooldown on 3 ticks. So then it effectively makes your like Elder Maul if you're using that 4-tick hit.
Yeah, so just like Doom with the blowpipe and T-bow.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah,
cool.
it's kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff to optimize there, and I think it's a fun boss. I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I know you love the optimization. You always cook some crazy stuff for every boss pet you were grinding, like Muspa, Zora. It was fun to watch.
And I always try to pay attention to like what other people are doing too, because oftentimes I get tech and like tips from other people too. So I just like to absorb everything I can and do my best. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Alright, so I guess let's move on to the next section, which is clue scrolls. And I'm sure Wiki is going to wake up and be super excited now. So, thoughts on your current clue meta? So we kind of spoke about it earlier. I think this is more addressing the elite clues. It's probably going to be a circle jerk, so I don't know what you guys want to say here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need a better, more consistent meta. I think for mains, if I could burn shades, I would do it. I would have green logged master clues a year ago. But I understand people don't like that meta, so I wish it would change because obviously it's not enjoyable for them. And for irons, I think we really need like either to remove the OP methods, but that's a problem now since they've been out for so long. So I think we should just like get an iron friendly method that's about as fast or faster, and just like rip the band-aid off, have like a proper grindable method for irons, because like it's so weird right now and I don't like it. I wish people could grind clues on their own without like having to deal with PKers or other people.
I kind of want them to bring like not necessarily better elite methods, but like something that's 2 elites per hour, but that's like linked to a skill, like pickpocketing heroes. Like right now, that's 1.1 elite per hour. But imagine if the rogue outfit worked, then you can get 2.2 elites per hour. And then like some cloggers could go for 200 mil thieving there, and then at least they get like 200 mil plus they get a decent amount of elites, and it gives you a little bit of variation as opposed to just like perm sending Callisto every day all day. So I would like to see stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like 5 or 6 elites an hour. I think that's maybe crazy, even though I would secretly like to see that because it would allow players like Domas or Wiki to complete the clog one day, but maybe that's too dreamy. And I hope that if we do get a new clue method, it's not like only mains that can use it. Like if it's something where you buy like pre-made items in the GE and use them, and then irons can never abuse that. That kind of sucks because we get left behind, but I guess we chose to limit ourselves, so it is what it is if that happens.
I think for me, mostly, like, when it comes to clue rate, I don't care if my progress gets devalued on its own, but I would love for Jagex to both like release a new method that people can grind and also like truly address clue scroller rates, because right now I heard it and I don't know how like consistent, legit, whatever, but it was mentioned that when they released the Yama contracts, they had discussed making a master contract and then they chose not to. And just that thought is kind of weird because right now they don't want to make a clue method better than 1 per hour. They think it's in a good spot and whatever. But if a Yama contract would have given a master clue, that would have been like insane, like 10 per hour or whatever, like if you can do the Yama fight, depending on how long the contract is. And I don't like how Jagex doesn't like fully address clue scrolls in a way where they're open with the community, explains what we can expect, how they view it, what they want from clues. And then like whatever method, as long as it's grindable, I'm happy with it. But I would love for them to treat clue scrolls more like skilling and bossing instead of just maybe one day releasing a 10 per hour method, but it's gonna take 5 years, so every clogger just burns out before that.
A contract for master clues would have been so cool. That would have been so sick. Like, and the crazy thing is that those contracts would hold like good value, so like it would help everyone, not only cloggers. So that'd be so cool. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, in terms of clue scrolls, if you can change anything, what would you do if you were Jagex?
I mean, except for the clue rates, I think when it comes to hard clues and master clues, they're almost perfect. I would love to like change, like for example, I would just love to have a pyramid shortcut where you don't get the like XP, like you climb up in some way where like you can't loot the thing and then you can do the moat. And then for master clues, I would love to have a proper Drakan's shortcut, not the one we have right now because it's still like such a shit step. But other than that, like the way I view those clue tiers, it's almost like perfect content and it's fully accidental. Like I don't really want Jagex to mess around with it because I think they would mess it up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, because I remember we had this discussion in the past, like to like standardize clues a little bit better. Like right now, beginners and masters are like the same unique ID. I would bring it back to be in line with the other tiers, and I would also fix a lot of like janky issues. Like there's one specific hard emote step where you have to like hold space, the one in the Twilight.
Oh
Temple.
yeah, the one thing, like I hate that one. I would fix that one as well.
It's so like small things that it just makes no sense. And like for the longest time, like certain clue stashes wouldn't get deposited if you didn't have it removed, even after the update. And like the one in the Wildy, but they fixed it.
Yeah,
the barrels.
They haven't fixed the barrows, yeah.
They haven't fixed it yet. See, like
nah,
I would like them to spend like maybe like it's a one JMod on like a side project to just like standardize a lot of this stuff. Like there's some clue steps where you answer like in the clue itself for the questions, and some where you have to answer to the NPC. Like everything is different, and I think it's because over the years a lot has changed. It's probably not the same JMod that worked on masters and beginners than the rest of the tiers. So I would like to see them clean it up a little bit, but at the same time, there's a chance that if they do that, they could fix a lot of the bugs that we are currently enjoying. So it's like a double-edged sword. It might not be worth the risk. We should just bite the bullet.
Yeah, I'd rather them not touch the clues and just like add some shortcuts. Better method for some clue tiers, but it's like, yeah, I'm afraid if they try to mess with the clue code. For example, the master clues, like it's annoying that you have the same ID, so you can't like you have to open it first. But I'm also afraid that if they try to streamline it with other clue tiers, they may just change it the other way around, and then they make it so our like easy to elite clues have the same ID instead, and then it's just awful. So like, please, Jagex, don't touch clues.
You're gonna speak it into existence.
Yeah, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna delete this section of the recording. Let's just move on.
just wait. Just wait until you hear my idea.
Nobody say the word Jardrick. Nope, don't say.
Oh no, don't.
I got a radical idea for clues.
Okay.
If I was Jagex, I would ban all clue helper plugins, every single one of them. So you would have to solve your own puzzles, and you have to memorize all the steps. I think that would be a better. I think it's just lame that you just click the arrow for the puzzles and then it's completed.
We would have been
I mean-
such good gamers on that puzzle if they never had that plugin. Like we'd be solving them in like 20 seconds and have like a bunch of text, and there'd be like YouTube guides on how to optimize it, and that'd be so cool.
Or yeah, pay 200K to skip the puzzle every time.
Oh yeah.
Like the question.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah,
gonna
that's
lie.
true.
Like in a perfect world, I would prefer that because like the thing that attracts me to Clue Scroll, like I don't even use the Clue helper. Well, actually, I started using it because the music steps, like I just didn't have to click once. But when I started using like the custom ID tags and whatever, and it's just like all I need is to know which step with like small text. But I could just do that with like the vanilla thing if I just memorized everything. So yeah, I would kind of like that, but it's too late at this point, obviously. So
Cool.
Yeah, my change would maybe be like I think it's been suggested before, but the Quiver turn-in at the Coliseum. I think that'd be a lot of fun for the meta to be there,
yeah, I agree.
to do more Coliseum runs. I don't know if you guys have seen some of like the world record runs, but there is like so much depth there and like
It's
things to
crazy.
optimize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't it like
that would be a
sub
lot of fun.
14 now, the world record? Or
Yeah, it's little under 14.
like I remember watching that VOD and I'm just like, oh my god, and like I'm thinking I'm gaming with my like 22-minute runs, and then this guy's just like freaking in the middle of the room the whole time, just flicking everything, didn't spec on the clump.
The
I'm
din
like,
spec.
okay.
Oh my god.
And like I don't know if you watch the same one, but he had like this tag where he would like stand under an NPC and back diagonally, and it would like kind of bring two NPCs closer so he can Venibo both. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
god, that's so smart. What the hell?
Yeah, to like unblock the tiles, but then you
Yeah.
still have to be diagonal to the Minotaur so it doesn't heal.
For the corner save spot.
Yeah.
It was crazy to watch that. It's beautiful gameplay, but I don't know how like consistent that guy is with his kill count, or if it's just like a lot of RNG. Like I know Inferno, you do the army skip, but there's some RNG, like you can get bad RNG and not hit hard on your T-bow and just die because they don't even bring any brews. But I'd be kind of curious to know like what the actual like long-term kill per hour rate would be.
Deer did a 6 hour just a couple months ago,
Well, how
and
many kills
he was
did get?
averaging like he got was it 18? I think it was 18.
3 per
but-
hour.
Yeah, and it was really close to 19. And if it just, I mean, it's easy to say if it just don't die, he would have gotten 20. But
Oh,
I
he
think
died
the-
twice
if
in
you're-
that record as well.
yeah, he
Damn,
died. He
wow,
died.
okay.
I think twice, maybe thrice. But 20 is like if you are the best of the best, not dying, then you have potential for 20. But
Yeah, but
that's
it's
easier
like-
said than done.
The skill ceiling there is crazy for 6 hours straight.
It's completely unreasonable for any rates.
But even if you played safe and you ranged everything, you can probably get 2.5 an hour consistently, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
if
for
did
sure
that.
you could. Yeah, you could probably average easily like 17, 18-minute runs, and that's not including the banking and all the downtime. So it would be maybe 3 an hour is the upper limit for a reasonable rate.
No, I think it'd be fairly balanced. I know Jagex likes to, have like sinks in the game, and they don't want pet hunters getting too many drops. So like for the Quiver turn-in idea, like the Quiver is a chunk of the Coliseum income because you could trade it in for the Sunflower splinters. So that's kind of in place of that. So in a way, and this may be a cope because you're still getting the rest of the loot, but in a way like that, it's a trade-off there. So you're losing some of that profit.
I mean, even because I can see the problem that Jagex don't want people to grind something for clues and then devalue the drops. But imagine if at the first wave of Colosseum you could choose a special invocation where you don't get any loot, but you get an elite clue at the end instead of a quiver, and then you just pick that one perm grind. They could make it in a way where they don't disrupt the economy, but they use the content for good, if that makes sense.
And also, to that point of disrupting the economy, I don't know if that's really a fair point if they were to say that, because how many people are really target farming elites? I feel like the population of players doing that is really small.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I'm just I can only guess why Jagex are so careful with adding elite clues to new bosses, but I would assume that's the reason. They don't want it to be a bunch of cloggers perm grinding a boss And then even if it doesn't really affect the economy, the perception is gonna affect it. So then the people like who don't care about clogs are gonna say like, oh, the cloggers are ruining this boss. That's why the drops are so low. Like when people look at the like Voidmaker hilt and they think it's the cloggers when actually it's just a bunch of bots and gold farmers. Like the impact cloggers have on the economy, like the impact cloggers have is so minuscule, but they would perceive it possibly as ruining Colosseum. Like
we're easy targets for Reddit, I guess.
Yeah, so yeah, I think like the fairest way to do it is just like enemy location at the start. You can pick it, you get an elite clue instead of loot. Bam. Simple. Nobody can complain about that.
No, they could replace that with one of the other two that are guaranteed because everyone's taking blasphemy anyways. So.
Yeah, and I mean, like the trade-off is you can argue it's slightly simpler, but you don't get a quiver, so you can't use it to sheath the first quiver, anyways.
Okay, cool. I would love to see that, to be honest. I think it would be so sick seeing all the cloggers just optimize like Colosseum to a degree of consistency instead of speed, and just seeing like the kill counts fly. I think it'd be really cool.
I would actually get a quiver then.
You don't have a quiver?
Nah, I'm not going like. I'm busy. Okay, I'm going for clues. I'll do that later.
It's okay. If only range was used for solve elites, Wiki would have had a quiver by now. But
yeah, I
really
mean, I would do the Maggot thing as well.
We'll let this one slide. He's our clue goat. He's got things to do, things to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like no offense to the PVMers, but range is literally useless. Like you don't use it for clues, so what's the need?
Range is literally useless. Wiki.
You're saying my blowpipe black d'hide clue setup is bad?
No.
I told you this, Wiki. We have to start a side series where people send us their clue setups and we judge them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That'll be fire.
I'll send you mine this night. You can laugh at it. It's not gonna be good.
Bro, he laughs at mine. Like you're already screwed, Michael.
Yeah, I actually had someone send me their clue setup the other night, and I was like, no, like, there's so much every time. Yeah, like, especially when people have items that you don't even use for that tier, but they think you use it for some reason.
Like, what's wrong with bringing 6 brews and 12 anglers for your ability step?
Yeah, that's true.
Better safe than sorry.
and the Armadillo God Sword, of course.
Yeah,
just in case. Just in case.
Oh man. Every time I see weird clue subs, I always forward it to Wiki. Just for the memes. It's too funny. Okay.
Yeah, I have some friends, like every time someone streams clues and they're like sending me the link and I'm like, no, I don't want to watch.
Don't click. Okay. I guess the last topic was kind of added last minute, but I guess there was some discussions with the log chasers requirements being too high. So if you were not aware, the current requirement is a max cape, diary cape, 2500 EHC, 1200 clogs, and 5 referrals. And if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the highest requirements for any clan in RuneScape. Even the skiller clans, they just have max cape, but this is like a beyond, or I think maybe EHP, I'm not sure for Solus, but yeah.
Yeah, there isn't max cape Rex, it's just pure EHP.
Oh, yeah, because then you would like kill the skillers or the like
the level 3 game modes, whatever FTPs.
That's true.
Couldn't join at all.
Well, in our case, they can't join at all, so rip. But yeah, I don't know what to say here. I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, one thing I could add is, like, before we didn't have the referral requirement, and we were growing like a way too fast of a pace, and a lot of the players in the clan were not really happy to see like a lot of quote-unquote randoms joining the clan. So to slow down the inflow of new players, we added the 5 referrals, which has worked. Instead of getting like, I think in the past we're getting like 5 to 10 members a week. Now it's like a handful a month, so it definitely slowed down quite a bit, which I guess was the purpose.
Yeah, I don't think there's inherently nothing wrong with higher requirements, but I was talking with JT a couple of months ago that he said that you had like 500 members and it was getting a little out of control. and I was wondering if there's more like a, because I don't hear anything about like lower level collectional clans. I don't know if they exist. Maybe they do, but I think there surely would be room for that. So
There is
LC wouldn't be it.
100% room for it. I know there was one person that tried a like low level Clog clan. I remember seeing it in Log Hunters Discord a while ago, but I don't know what happened afterwards. It's very hard to start because you have to like convince people that are in their current clan to hop over, so it's not easy. But I would like to see a low level Clog clan. I think it would have a good.
Yeah, because in
niche.
the skilling scene there are a lot of like mid-level skilling clans, like a lot of them, or at least used to be historically. So it's a thing there. So I was wondering if there was anything for clogs.
I don't think there is, at least not like a spread out advertised in log hunters or whatever. But the way I see it, it's kind of weird because the requirements are both way too high and way too low. Because obviously, like, the clan is almost at a capacity every time. You have to like referrals, max cape requirement, and what that does, it stress every like member who doesn't have the requirements out. They have to like grind to stay in the clan, and ever since the conception of the clan, that has been like a total rat race every time, just to try to limit the members to not get too full, and also to make sure that the people are like invested in clogging or whatever. And I think that exists because there's only one Clog clan. There's no competition. There's no like different way to join a Clog clan or whatever. And I don't think like both. I think there should be a lot of like smaller casual Clog clans, and probably also room for like super try hard giga sweat Clog clans, because Log Chasers is like a one fit all for every clogger, everyone who's interested in clues, PVM, pets, whatever. Like, they join Log Chasers because there's no other avenue for that.
There could be like a pet hunter clan that would probably do really well, specifically.
Yeah,
on
for sure.
pets. But then that's kind of like basically clogging is just a subset. So
Yeah,
And it's like a PVM clan as well.
yeah, PVM clan is
Yeah.
basically the same thing. That's true. We'll see. I mean, we've had no competition for 2 years now. 2 years as of Sunday actually. But this releases Monday,
Yeah.
so technically, as of yesterday. Haha!
But yeah, I just think it's kind of like, it's not really about the requirements for Log Chasers, because the issue you guys have is that too many people want to clog and want to be in a clog clan. And then there's always that problem where either you have to close the applications, or you have to like be in a weird position where you start raising the requirements for new people, but you don't raise the requirement for the current people. And it's like, yeah, there's no good solution to it. I don't know what it is. Like, more people have to start cloud clans, I guess, so people have somewhere to go.
Yeah, I think it was Swerve who made a joke that we should start a Wreck Chasers clan, and that really fucking made me laugh so hard. Wreck Chasers.
Also, the low chasers were like lower requirements. You're like,
But yeah, the wreck
Yeah.
increases were really painful. Like, I lost a lot of good friends that were like essentially banned. Like, I'm just thinking about Kev Ozzy, who was a UIM, and he was like, joined the clan, was chasing the requirement, got it, requirements go up, chasing the requirement, got it, requirements go up again, and then this time he unfortunately didn't make the EHC cut and got the
yeah,
got
and like
purged.
I was always like in favor of raising the requirements, but I didn't think it was a good solution. It was more like, we have too many people, and too many people want to join, and I was strictly against like capping the amount of like, it's so weird to be like, nah, nobody can join, we don't have, and then like the randomize were first come first serve, where like
Oh, that
people
was
apply and they
crazy.
set like all that stuff is kind of weird, because it shouldn't be random who joins a clan. It should be like people who actually fit in and want to join a clan. So yeah, I don't have a solution for it, but I think it's both too high and too low, because obviously a lot of like invested cloggers are barely at the requirement for the clan, and it's like a high requirement. I don't know if there's any clan with higher requirements, but yeah, I guess it's because nobody like, there's no other clog clan.
What's the requirement for Solus? Do you know, Michael?
I don't know from the top of my head, but I would estimate it's like 2.5k EHP or 3k.
Okay, so it's still kind
That's pretty
of
high.
close, but because I think that's the best skilling clan as far as I know, unless I'm missing.
No,
others.
No comments, but you could say so.
No comments.
We don't want to play favorites. Has Hexus fallen off, or like, why are we not talking about them?
No comments.
I mean, surely they exist, but you know,
I know.
I don't
Hexus
know if
fell off.
they have same competitive spirit
Hmm.
as in Solas right now. But they do still exist.
Okay, cool. I think this
Okay, I
is
checked the rates, the regs, LGR. They are 3K
3K
for all
EHP.
game modes. Yeah,
Okay.
all game modes.
Because I guess that's one thing I don't like about our regs is it basically limits, like, I mean, it was this decision taken with the mod team, but we basically do not allow any snowflakes. There's like no chance you can join if you're like a 40 defense, 1 defense, skiller, whatever, so yeah, rip. Okay, cool. Any other final comments before we end? This is like a long gap. We're over 2 hours.
I just want to shout out the real one who's like doing so much for the clog community ever since like I started clogging, and just Humblebee's doing all the math stuff, all the like EHC stuff, and
Dude,
yeah.
I was about to say the same. I was
Yeah.
literally about to say the same.
Bro doesn't even play anymore, if I'm not wrong, and still
Oh, he
contributes crazy amounts. He still does? I didn't know that.
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't think he does. I don't think he has
Yeah,
ever
he-
logged into the game.
Yeah, he says he doesn't play, but I don't know. But like regardless, shout out the
Shout
goat
out the real
pro.
one. The one that made all the EHC numbers like actual relevant and
The math.
the math on point, yeah. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time with me, like chatting in Discord too, like in like a Long Hunters Discord, like where there's some like unintuitive case where something is like giving more hours than seems reasonable, but the math actually makes sense, and you know he's like totally willing to just like talk it all through.
Yeah,
And also,
understand
like,
it.
He's a great guy. A lot of respect for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and anytime someone has like a question about some weird stuff, he's like, "Yeah, I'll pull the data. Here's like this weird stuff you want to know about, like log states or
Who's the driest?
Yeah,
I
who's the
love
driest.
those. I love it so much.
It's just so amazing and underappreciated. Like we love the real one, the goat.
I hope he watches this. Gets the praise he deserves. Alright, well, thanks for coming, lads. It was a fun, as usual, to yap. And I hope everyone listening
thanks for
enjoyed
having
it
me.
too. Peace out, guys. Take care.
See ya.
Yep.